Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome everybody out today to episode 235 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Krissie Shelley.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back week after week as we continue the journey of chatting with some amazing locals here in Salt Lake City, finding out their stories, finding out what they're up to, finding out what they're doing here in Salt Lake City. Today on the podcast, local Salt Lake City stand-up comedian Abi Harrison joins us.
I love Abi.
You really do. I mean, okay, when she first came into the studio to record, I had to pull you away from her.
You did.
I was like, are we going to record this interview or what?
You're like, you guys are laughing too much. We need to
let's
actually
get serious.
record.
Let's get serious here. Let's sit down. Let's get the microphones on. Let's find out your story. And then you guys can catch up.
And then we both were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do this. I'm almost like a police officer. I felt like I was the bad parent.
Bad cop. I was the good cop.
Yeah, you were the good cop. But I mean, it was a fantastic conversation with her.
Yeah,
got a chance to find out her story, kind of find out what got her into comedy, and got to find out a little bit of personal side of Abby's that I know a lot of people aren't as familiar with. And that's one thing I enjoy about doing the podcast.
It's really cool to be able to actually understand where a person's coming from that you've known for a while.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, they see these comedians, they see them do their stand-up shows. Mm-hmm. They see them open for other comedians, but they don't know the struggles.
Nope.
And they don't know the hardships. They don't know their anxieties. They don't know what got them into comedy. And that's one thing with the podcast. I'm really hoping to kind of, allow these comedians to open up a little bit and share their stories. But before we do that, let's give some love to our sponsors. Oleo Skin and Beard, great local company from Salt Lake City. I know I'm a big fan of their beard oils, the beard wash, the beard balms, all their beard products.
And I'm a huge fan of their skin products. I actually just went over to Farmer's Market today and picked some up.
Yeah, you did. What did you get? Some of the skin oil and
sea salt scrub?
Sea salt scrub.
I'm
stuff
excited
that goes
for that.
over my head. I don't even know what it's all about.
Girly stuff.
But if you go to oleoskin.com, you can find out more about their products. You can order it right there from the website. Get it delivered right to your doorstep so you don't even need to leave your house. Check it out. They also list all of the markets that they're going to be at. Again, oleoskin.com. I also want to mention our other sponsor. We have a new sponsor of the podcast, Distillery 36.
They are a delicious sponsor.
Delicious sponsors is really the word for it, Krissie. They make a fantastic rum. Mm-hmm. It's called Brigham Rum, local distillery right here in the Salt Lake City area. Check them out online, distillery36.com. I know you could check them out on Facebook as well. Head on over to iamsaltlake.com. Click on the banner. I know you made a little banner there, Krissie, where people can click on through and check out their website. Find out more about their rum and pick it up. I mean, I know most of the local state liquor stores carry it.
And even if you're not a rum person, you have to try it because I wasn't a rum person until I tried this rum.
And we're drinking some tonight.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. Put it in a little ginger beer.
So great with ginger beer.
It really is. And so check them out, distillery36.com. Hey, before we get into this interview with Abi Harrison, I want to talk about the GoFundMe because some amazing things happened this week. I promised to talk about it on the podcast, so let's talk about it. What we were doing is we were trying to raise some funds to get the podcast some new recording equipment, okay? And I mean, it was a small amount, $2,500. We figured this would give it a good leg up to kind of help buy it some new stuff. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't buy it all, but we knew it would help the podcast out immensely. Anyway, we were sitting at about, $1,400 or so.
For a while.
For a little while. And I was getting kind of like, oh gosh.
I think we just accepted it. We're like, we're not going to.
We're not going to make it. Well,
anymore.
Anyway, I opened up my email. I was at my day job and I opened it up and I saw that there was $1,000 donation from GoFundMe. And I was like, what is this? I didn't even think GoFundMe actually did that kind
I
of
had
thing.
no idea. I thought it was a joke.
I really did. I texted you right away. I
Yeah.
said, Krissie, check this out. At the same time, a good friend of the show, Eric Tomorrow from Mediocre Show, was texting me as well. And I thought maybe he had something in on it. I thought maybe he kind of, I thought maybe he had a friend at GoFundMe and he knew something about it because I thought it was a little weird. He didn't know anything about it. Anyway, it brought us up to $2,480. So we were $20 shy of the $2,500. So Eric Tomorrow, as a good dude does, he donated the extra $20 to put us up at the goal. A couple hours later, I get this amazing email that I wanted to read on the podcast. And I mentioned this in the Facebook post that I made. It says, "Hi, Chris. Congratulations on being selected as a recipient of GoFundMe's Gives Back program. Each month, we select campaigns that spoke to us in some way, and the campaigns receive a $1,000 donation from GoFundMe. I nominated your campaign because I married a SLC native and fell in love with the city, culture, and people. We currently live in Oakland, California, but we did live in SLC several years ago. I love your podcast and hope that you're able to continue sharing SLC stories for many years. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Best, Danny Gordon, Head of Trust and Safety." Amazing. This is what I said, Krissie. I said, you do not know who is listening to your podcast.
Yeah. And
you really don't.
It's incredible because I have noticed too, a lot of the people who reach out are people who have lived in Salt Lake and but they don't live here loved it
anymore.
so much.
Yeah.
But when they moved away, they want to stay in touch.
People want to still be connected to the city.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things when I started this podcast, I noticed that. I said, I realize a lot of the podcast listeners aren't going to be in Salt Lake City, but they still want to be connected to the city.
And it's really cool.
It really is. It really is. So, that was a fantastic email. Many thanks to Danny. Many thanks to the whole GoFundMe team.
That was incredible.
For helping the podcast reach its goal. But I do want to say this. I'm going to sit and I'm going to party and I'm going to have an honorary Distillery 36 drink as a celebration. Because that is a big accomplishment to raise that kind of money. But there is no way. We're not even close to. That's just a small speck in the bucket.
Yeah.
Really, for the podcast. So many thanks to everybody that donated. I know there's a whole lot of you that helped make the podcast reach its goal on the GoFundMe. So thank you so much, everybody, and for sharing the links for that. But if I do want to say this. If you do want to donate to the podcast, head on over to iamsaltlake.com. There is a donate button up there in the far right corner. It's just donate right to PayPal. As little as $1. It really will. It'll help the podcast out immensely. There's a long ways to go to keep the podcast going. But this GoFundMe, it really did put a big dent in the in the car, so to speak. You know what I mean? To help the podcast out. So that's it. We reached the goal of $2,500. We got a lot of other ways that we're going to be doing some fundraisers in the future. Right now, we're going to be having some celebratory drinks,
which I like the idea of.
Absolutely. Like I said, though, Abi Harrison, a local Salt Lake City stand-up comedian. She's on this episode. Let's get into that. There's some more I want to talk about after the interview with Abi. I don't want to clog up the beginning of this podcast, though. There's a lot we want to talk about. Krissie and I, we went to the Pioneer Day Parade, and we want to kind of...
It was interesting.
We kind of want to voice our thoughts on that.
But I'd like to say, if anyone is in Salt Lake and listening and hasn't heard Abi do stand-up, please look her up and check her out.
Go check her out.
She is one of the funniest comedians I've ever met.
And like I said, I can't believe it's taken 235 episodes to bring her on. But anyway, here's the interview with Abi Harrison. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Enjoy. What brought you to Utah, I guess, is a good...
I was raised Mormon, and I am so disorganized that I didn't apply to any colleges, and my mom was like, here you go. got you this application.
So your mom recommended, so you went to BYU.
I actually didn't want to go.
You didn't want to go to BYU.
But I was like, well, I guess I had. I didn't apply to any colleges, so So I went out there.
Your mom recommended you to go to BYU.
Yep.
To apply to BYU. And what was your first thought of that, honestly?
I didn't want to go and be somewhere where I was around tons of people like me. I think is
really
like being from Indiana, like it's part of your like identity. I think like
to be different.
Yeah, like that's what there's like a stigma about it, you know.
Oh yeah,
because like Indiana Mormons probably versus Utah Mormons a lot different.
Yeah,
you probably stand out in Indiana more.
You stand out in Indiana more. There are less. I don't know if this is like messed up to say, but it's true. There are less successful. Like out here, it's like the norm, and so there's lots of middle class and upper middle class people that are Mormon. But that doesn't really happen in Indiana. It's not a lot of. It's like I think the church in a lot of places that aren't Utah, like there aren't people that are affluent or powerful that join the church, you know.
When you came out here to be, I mean, was that the first time you ever came to Utah?
No, I'd been
like
once.
When you visited?
Before to visit. Had I? Maybe I hadn't. I don't remember.
Like EFY or something?
No, I never went to EFY.
You never went to, I went to EFY. I actually went to EFY.
I hate the concept.
I loved EFY.
I loved EFY too.
I hated the concept, like as a kid, because like you're paying more money for more spirituality.
Yep.
Like the poor kids get to go to youth conference, and then if you have more money, you get more nourishment. I don't know. I
never
felt
thought
like
about it that way.
Gross.
Interesting. Like the poor kids can't go?
They can't because they don't have the money.
Man.
Yeah.
You never think about that when you're a kid.
I mean, but that was the thing, though. As parents, they saved their money all year long to send their kid to EFY. Because I didn't come from a rich family. But that was kind of like my mom saved and saved and saved and saved so I could go to EFY. I mean, at least that's how I remember it. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're listening and you saw it different. You know? Hopefully my mom's not listening. My mom's not listening, Abby. Don't worry.
I don't know. I just think
kids. At me like,
she looks nervous.
No, so, okay, so your point.
My point, though, is that kids with parents who aren't as good as saving money still deserve the same spirituality, right?
Yeah, that's true.
No, you're right. You're right. But anything that's going to cost money, classes for yourself, it could further
this is
your
a totally idealistic, like kid view of it. I get what I mean. Obviously,
but you went to BYU though, and BYU isn't a cheap school.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
if you're Mormon, it is
hella
right?
cheap.
You think so?
It's like
I could barely afford
$2,000.
I could barely afford community college. Come on.
I think
it's like $2,000.
I think it's really cheap if you're actually LDS. You get kind of a discount, from what I've heard.
I think it's even cheap if you're not.
Really? You just have to be
compared
accepted.
To non-state schools. Like, it's way.
See, I always thought BYU was really expensive.
No, I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have gone?
I wouldn't have been able to go, no.
So what'd you go to school for?
Recreation therapy.
I mean, what did you want to do with that? You had to have a plan. There was something you wanted to do.
Yeah. So mental health issues run in my family. And that was kind of like I was looking into psychology stuff, and then I took like an aptitude test, and the guy recommended that I look into rec therapy. And I loved it. I was like, this is definitely, because you get to work with people with mental illnesses or deficits of some kind, behavior disorders, and do fun stuff.
Do you do anything with that now with your degree?
Yeah, I work with the troubled youths.
Really?
It's really, you get to be creative and like think on the fly, like processing with them and trying to look at it from their perspective and like help them learn something. I don't know.
Is it like at a school here where they're sent away?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I think that's great that you can actually do that.
Yeah, we don't need to pry too much about her work.
Well,
I mean,
no. I just get really frustrated with troubled youths. I'd be like, you know what? Just go to jail for a little bit, and then you won't want to be there.
Dude, did you know they can assault people, and if they don't break a bone, juvie can only hold them for 24 hours. and puts them back, and they can like seriously injure people.
Put them back where, like in jail,
on the street,
or on the street?
Yeah, or in treatment or whatever.
Really?
Like they won't hold them. Yeah.
Have you seen? Okay, so working with troubled youth, have you seen like you actually make a difference with working with them? Have you seen any like crazy success stories?
Yes, but like I'm PRN. So
what does that stand for?
Oh, as needed. It's Latin for.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't work consistently.
And we don't speak Latin here.
With kids. Like I've never been like, oh my God, I know I made a change for this kid. But I've had groups where it was like, thank God they understood.
Yeah. Hey.
So comedy. I mean, you do stand-up comedy here in Salt Lake, or I mean, all over, really. I mean, have you traveled outside of Utah?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. I mean, have you found? I mean, your day job. You wouldn't think of a comedian doing that type of job, would you?
I feel like rec therapy though. Like we use the resiliency model, and one of the characteristics is humor. Like it's a like laughter is the best medicine. Like.
It actually seems like that would be a perfect spot for comedians.
And maybe, yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Because we're kind of,
yeah.
Like, I'm not one to really, but like the reason we do, I'm gonna say we because I did do it for a little bit, but it's because we're so angry.
But
you know what I mean? Don't you think?
But do you think all comedians are angry?
Most of them.
I'm usually like sad.
See,
well, that's what I mean. Sad or angry. Like it kind of comes from a place of darkness, and you trying to make it better.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about this for a minute. I want to actually touch on this because I've heard you say this. I've heard, maybe you weren't even the only one who said this, Krissie, because and I've said this on the podcast. People listening, I'm sure, are sick of it. How I'd like to dabble in some open mic, some comedy, but I don't consider myself a dark, angry person. So if I'm not a dark, angry person, am I going to fail at comedy?
No, absolutely not. I think maybe just the majority of people do it as a release. Or an outlet.
Do you think Jim Gaffigan's a dark, angry person?
No.
See, and he's a great comedian.
No, but Louis Black, Louis C.K.
Well, but maybe he would have been if he didn't have comedy.
Okay, no,
like,
fair enough.
For me,
I mean, this is a great topic and a great conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's a good coping skill. Like for me growing up, that's why I became a class clown, is because I was dealing with bad stuff that was happening around me. Yeah. I wanted to cheer my siblings up. You know what I mean? That gave me power. It made me feel like I could like control something.
Yeah. Or you could be of benefit in some way.
Who knows who I'd be if I didn't have that like instinct and like didn't develop that.
Well, and I suffer with depression and anxiety and sadness, I guess, like the next person. So to say I'm like, oh, yeah, Mr. Flower Man and, I don't know, Mr. Rogers,
Picking daisies.
I mean, but I've heard that very often, that comedians are angry people. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't want to believe that.
I know, like, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's
not. Okay.
Like,
so
I guess Maria Bamford.
You don't
Jim
feel they have to be angry people then?
No, I'm not an angry person. I'm rarely angry. I mean, I do have like rage blackouts every now and again, but
really,
rage blackouts.
Do tell.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll freak out on people. Like if something really upsets me, I can get angry. But
what's something that upsets you? Something that upsets Abby?
I hate it when you're having a discussion with them and you bring up a point and it's a valid point and it validates their point and you're like, this is, you know what I mean? And then they're like, just say what they said the first time and it's just as like aggressive and not like they didn't even listen to what the point you made.
Like you can't actually have a conversation. They're just talking at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
That is frustrating.
This lady... I was in the wrong. But I was in the wrong. I just was like being spaced out, and she was like waving for me to turn, and I like wanted to like physically fight her.
Really?
That maybe I am an angry person. I probably shouldn't have said that on this.
Have you ever been in a fist fight?
Like when I was a kid with siblings.
Recently, though?
No.
I don't know. I wanted to ask this question.
I started Fight Club
at
my work.
A listener wrote that in.
What?
beforehand. I asked all listeners. I said, "Hey, do you have any questions for Abby?" They wanted to know if you've been in a fist fight. I'm kidding. I caught you off guard. Sorry. Anyway, comedy. You said you were a class clown as a young kid, and you were always, out to make people laugh. But like some of the first times that the very first time you got up to do stand up, open mic, whatever, did you know at that moment, hey, this is something I really want to do? I mean, because it wasn't. How can I word this here? As a kid, yeah, you're hanging out with your friends and you're making them laugh. But there's a difference when you actually take it to the stage and you have a microphone in your hand, you're in front of people, you're spitting jokes, you're saying jokes. At what point did it hit you, wow, this is something I really want to pursue? Does that make sense?
Yeah. After the first time, because it didn't go very well, I wanted to revenge success people. And
Spite is a great motivator.
Yeah. And then when I started doing well and being above average, I wanted to, but it was more well, I've got to be a good, you know what I mean? I got to marry a dude and
yeah. You felt like you were supposed to follow a specific path.
That was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Who told you that was the right thing to do?
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh, no, I guess I find it because I left the Mormon church so many years ago. I was barely 16, so I guess I didn't struggle with a lot of that, as in your 20s and stuff that I think a lot of people.
It can be complicated, especially when you're a woman, and especially at BYU, because there's they really pressure you very much to follow a specific lifestyle, and they pressure the guys too. And so you end up not really finding out who you are until later in life.
Because you're becoming who
they tell you you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that
very true.
That always makes it hard when you find something you love, but you need to put it on hold.
Which was comedy in your case.
Yeah. I put comedy on hold to serve a mission, and I put it on hold to have a kid. And the whole marrying a dude, having a kid was so stressful that was really... that whole time was very hit.
The dude wasn't very the guy you married wasn't. Did you tell him about your desire to do comedy? Was he supportive in that?
He's super supportive. He's supportive now.
So why did you feel like you had to put it on the back burner then?
Well, pressure to be a good mom and a good wife and
more social pressure, I bet.
And a good mom.
Not from him. No.
I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued. So you felt like you couldn't be a good mom and do comedy?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because that's what you shouldn't traveling, leaving your kid behind and traveling that's
having
not
hobbies.
being a good having
hobbies seriously,
being in bars it's not a good environment. And look at me now, it wasn't a good environment. Look at me now. Banging all the ladies.
Yeah, kids, if you want a good example of what not to be, go to iamsaltlake.com, look at the picture of Abby.
And then just remember that. Just sear it into your brain.
This is what comedy will do to you if you leave your family behind.
You get a new family.
So banging all the ladies.
Wives. What? Be lesbian Joseph Smith.
do the what now?
I want to be lesbian Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
I'm writing this joke about. Well, it's about bipolar and how you get manic and have really wild ideas that are good ideas, but
in practice quite
sort
awful.
of make sense. Yeah,
they sound great in a dream,
but I want to create a religion, a gay polygamist.
Wait, for real? Have you had this thought?
Yeah, not I was delusional insane, but I like to toy with origin stories, make up my own storyline of
what could happen,
life and command. You know what I mean? Make up my own religions and stuff.
Huh.
It's a fascination, I guess, I have because of my dad has bipolar. He was always really into sci-fi weirdo crap. Mm-hmm. It's just in my blood.
So, are a lot of your jokes religious themed then? Do you have a lot of Mormon jokes?
I do.
How does
that enough?
How does that? You mentioned that you've performed out of state. I don't know what do comics call going out of state? Performing, touring. Traveling. How do those jokes work out of state for you?
I guess it kind of depends on the audience. In New York, so this is crazy. This is just a fluke, but in New York, I did them. They killed. The next day, on 2 separate occasions when I was just walking around the village, like people were like, "Oh my God, I saw your show. I loved it."
Really?
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was
like
the
a
same
Mormon in New
location, so
York.
maybe they lived nearby that. Well, that makes it way less magical.
So you've gone to New York to perform?
Yeah.
Or to do stand-up?
I did the She-Devil.
Oh, you were in that.
Comedy.
Who was I talking to? I was talking
Eileen.
to
Eileen went into
Eileen
that, too.
Dobbins did the She-Devil.
I
Or
applied.
did she apply? Did Eileen apply?
think she actually
Or
went.
Did she actually go?
Yeah.
You know, that's right, because I had her on and she talked that you pushed her
Yeah, I told her to
to
apply.
go do.
And she took your spot.
She took my spot.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Eileen, if you're listening right
What
now.
a bee.
Right? I totally blame her.
So what? I mean, okay, well,
That's
for people
awesome. I
listening, I
didn't
mean, the process to get into the festival, because it's quite difficult to get in there, right? I mean, was this the first festival that you were in or that you've done?
No. I don't know. Remember the first. I've done, let's see, Laughing Derby, Midwest Fest, She-Devil, Idaho Laugh Fest, Ventura Common Festival.
That's my hometown right there, Ventura.
All Jane No Dick. I know. I saw that.
Did you like Ventura?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I kind of
Walk out on the docks. Beautiful.
You were in the Rocky Mountain laugh off, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the
More
Probably
stuff.
Have you won
few
any?
other-
Have you won any of these festivals?
I won the Salt Lake City Comedy Festival.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you win? Like a trophy
high
or
five.
or
Oh no, I think it
50
was like
bucks
I
or
think it
something?
was like money. I think it was like
You don't even
$250.
remember.
I still remember the
It's
first time I
gone.
got paid in actual money. $20.
Okay, let's.
It's exciting. It
let's
is.
talk about that actually for a
Yeah.
minute because it is such an exciting thing. Like even with doing a podcast like this, it's like, oh, somebody's $10 donation or
Yeah.
something like that. It's like, wow, these people believe in me. Like yeah, you can go get a job at McDonald's and probably make more in a weekend than that $10 or $20.
but it's being valued
But
for
that- okay.
something you made.
So the first time, I mean, either one of you, because you both have done stand-up comedy. I mean, I know this podcast is about Abby here, and I apologize, but I'm curious, like that first time you got paid to do a show, were you like, was there a part of you that's like, oh, you sure you want to pay me?
I took a picture of me with the check. I got paid $97 for 12 minutes.
No shit.
Wow.
Wow,
And
I need to
I,
get into comedy. I do.
You'd be amazing at it.
Well, and you've said this.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
You and Abby would get along swell. You both have incredibly dry wits.
No, so, okay, where did you, for $97 for 12 minutes, I got to go apply there.
Oh, that was just
I'm kidding.
I don't know, some random business meeting, dinner,
Those pay pretty well. The
corporate stuff.
corporate
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
That was your first paid gig, though?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And how
It
many-
was through Humor You.
Okay,
Like it was
okay,
a
so
connection.
this was back when you were a clean comic.
Yes. I
Okay, so
I don't feel like I'm dirty.
You're still kind of a clean comic.
I'm like kind of risque.
let's pretend that everybody listening to the
Risque.
podcast right now has never seen Abby.
Yes.
They've never come out to any of your shows. How would you describe your comedy?
My mom would not like it. Your mom
Sim-
might not either.
Simple enough. No, and I mean that's a great
Yeah,
description
I don't
of
think
it.
I don't think it should be dirty to talk about sex or about like to say the word vagina. I don't think that should be dirty. And I don't think it should be wrong to like say certain words if you're dealing like with your own problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole like never make a rape joke or like like I get it can be triggering and obviously I don't want to do that to other people, but like
if it's something you've dealt with.
I feel like you should be able to like conquer that with comedy.
I think that's actually very true. Like a lot of people be like, don't ever make rape jokes. And it's like, yeah, but if I've been raped and I want to get over it, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I agree.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so many people out there that get so PC and they're so just like, no, can't say that. And it makes everybody so afraid to do or say anything.
Yeah.
They stop creating.
It's just
And you have to keep
especially
creating.
like rape is something that takes so much power away from you and being able to make jokes about it and be like, no, this is my experience now. I'm owning this.
Like, you're
This
empowering
wasn't done
yourself.
to me. Like you know what I mean? Like being able to say, hey, this was wrong and
Yeah.
have people like a whole room get on board with you enough to like laugh about it. Like that's a powerful.
So are a lot of your jokes maybe even about personal experiences, things that you've gone through?
Yeah, I have like a lot of absurdist. Like I'm working on this stuff about like I want to write the Diary of Lisa Frank. It's a spin-off. Like I want to write the Diary of Anne Frank 2. It's the sequel where she's a ghost and the Mormons are trying to baptize her.
Do you ever get worried though that like maybe you'll steal somebody else's joke? Does that
it happens all the time.
But do you worry about that, or do you just throw it out there and if it is, it is?
Yeah, I don't really like. Do I Google first every time?
Maybe not Google, but do you ever just worry that like? I mean, that would be something I would be worried about. That like if I go up there and I say jokes that I think I wrote, and then somebody's like, "Well, I heard somebody else say that."
Yeah, well, I mean, like it happens, and then you just don't tell them again. Yeah. Once I wrote a joke about like dentistry and ice fishing, and it was like almost an exact copy of Bill Cosby's joke, but I had no idea. It's just like a weird.
Well, there's only so many premises in the world, really.
Great minds think alike.
But that's where I think if you were to dig into your own personal life and your own stories and your own experiences, then you can kind of be safe, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so, maybe.
I'm not willing to give up the like random stuff, though.
Yeah.
I love Anne Frank jokes.
Where do you want to see comedy take you? Like, where would you like to have this take you?
I want to be...
Like, be honest.
I want to be able to do it for the rest of my life.
Sure. Do you feel like you're getting there? Do you feel like it's happening?
Yeah. I have exceeded my wildest expectations. I mean, like, I grew up, like, I didn't know I was going to go to college. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of myself, like, and I like my work. And the thrill of getting better and better, of just, like, it's almost, like, spiritual for me. You got to respect comedy. Yeah. It's, like, my whole, like, after leaving the church, I was like, I need to figure out what my values are. And I realized, like, my whole life, like, what I want to do is create beautiful things and like share it with people, because I love the connection, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be able to keep it in my life, I guess.
Yeah. It's like a very spiritual thing to be able to connect with people and just kind of reach them on some level. I think comedy does that really well. When you're on the stage and you're talking to the people in the crowd and they're responding, there's a connection there that you can't ever quite explain. It's amazing.
There's a feeling in the room.
There is. You don't need church for that. You just need a stage.
Do you still get nervous when you get up on stage?
At this point, I've learned the lesson that regardless of how it goes, like, I'm still going to go home at night. Like, life goes on.
Did you beat yourself up in the beginning if it didn't go well?
And like it hurt me. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, you just can't take yourself so seriously. Like, you're going to fail, and you should.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Do you think, like, speaking of failure, though, like, do you think that, like, most people are honest when they say, okay, that was a good set or a bad set? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think people are so out to, oh, that was perfect. Like, kind of let's give it, all kids are winners. Let's give them all trophies type of thing. That kind of concept. Like, even if you bombed your set, everyone's going to still say you did good instead of being constructive with criticism, I guess.
I try to, like, I'm fine living in a fantasy world. Like, if I need to believe it that day, that it's, you know what I mean? But if I'm in a good place, then I can be, like, logical about it. There's no point in getting your feelings hurt about it. Like,
it doesn't do anything good for the situation.
It just makes it worse. So, like, I've had people come up and, like, the Midwest Fest I said I did, I was, like, going through some ish and bombed so hard. Maybe not related to the ish I was going through, but regardless, I bombed so hard.
Wow.
And I was the only girl, and I was hanging out with a couple of the guys out front of the comedy club, Morty's, and this old lady comes out, just like, "You were fantastic. You were so good. You were so good." and then looked at me and she's like, and it was good to see a girl come out.
That's awful.
Dude, I bombed in the gas station before I came here.
Wait, which kind of bomb?
Wait, here before you came to do the podcast tonight?
Yeah.
You were doing stand-up in the comedy? Or
At a
in
gas
the gas
station?
station?
Well, no, I had all this cash and like change I found in my cup holder, and I needed gas, but I didn't want to buy it because I was going to wait for the co-parent to fill it up. You know how it is. So I was like, however many this is on 3, and like threw it. And she was not amused. She did not like that joke. She was.
Ooh, that's rough. Tough crowd.
But you got here, so I'm happy. You know.
Yeah, she gave me the gas. So
That's nice. Did she make you count it?
no.
That
That was always. I worked at a gas station for a while, actually. 7-Eleven one time. I mean, that was the worst when people would just throw pennies at you, and you're just like, no, there's rolls you can get at the bank to put these in.
I think
penny roll.
my mom avoided that when I was little because we always had like a bucket of nickels, and when we had to go to the gas station, she'd make the kids carry in the bucket of nickels and pay for the gas. So like, that way it was on us.
Yeah.
So have kids, everybody.
So when you're not doing comedy, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? Things that occupy your time, things that consume you.
My other main deal, I think, would be art. I paint.
And what got you into art? What, like,
I was just always like,
ever since you were a kid?
ever since I was a kid, yeah. We, like, instead of buying us toys, like, we didn't have a lot of money, she'd get us crayons and library
Get you
books.
some dirt and water.
Some dirt and water.
Yeah.
No, but I did used to make stone soup. Did you ever read that book?
Oh yeah.
But it would be like cans of corn and tuna and ranch dressing and water.
Did you make it for your family?
No, I was just hungry, and that's all, like.
That's gross. That's quite horrible. Did you eat it?
Yes, we were
So
like,
wait,
this is great.
Wait, what was it? You say that again. I mean, I
Stone Soup is like this book where
loved that book as a kid. I remember the book.
yeah,
It was
so
great.
we would
Did
just
you read the book, Krissie?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So we're all
yeah.
on the same page here. We're all part of the Stone Soup Club.
so we would make the stone soup, but with the potato. But then we'd never have like
A potato.
fresh groceries. So it'd be like canned corn and canned tuna and ranch dressing and like the nastiest. Yeah.
That sounds like my
casserole.
dinners as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And water.
Chopped up like hot dogs and macaroni and cheese or stuff like that.
I feel like that's really different than canned tuna and water.
I don't know. It's all just weird food, man. It's just weird. I don't know. So anyway,
all substance.
art. Anyway, art.
Art.
Your preferred medium is what? Just paint? I mean, what? Talk about this for a minute.
I majored in sculpture for a minute at BYU. And I do like sculpting. It's just like I don't have the like it's expensive. I don't have like a kiln or a
wheel.
studio. Yeah,
that's
like so many things
pottery.
you'd need. I think mostly what I do now is acrylic paintings.
Because we ran into you at the Urban Arts Gallery actually a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Do you have some of your art there?
No.
Have you ever?
No, I just did. That was the first time my buddy was like, you should bring it there.
Is that for part of that Connect thing? Was that what it was? Or did you don't even know?
I thought it was like a competition or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you did bring it in for Connect.
Okay, yeah.
But you weren't there.
Was I supposed to be?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you win.
I don't know. Well, because
I asked him
we've been
if
doing
I-
live podcasts there. And that's why, so we ran into you after. We're like, Abby does art. We didn't know this.
It's like you keep it a secret or something.
So I have this joke about like I want to start a lesbian punk band called Georgia O'Queef and the Middle Fingers, and I made band shirts for it, and it's like punked out Georgia with like beautiful flowers all around her. And it's just like flipping, yeah. So I have been trying to do more like art, comedy.
Yeah.
like try and set,
maybe sit there and paint while you're saying comedy, like at a comedy show.
Tell your own jokes and then try to paint them. Entertain yourself all day long.
I made
So is art more therapy for you than more something that like you want to do with it? I mean, would you like to ever pursue anything with art then, or is it just something to kind of?
Not like with stand up, but I think my stuff is good enough I could sell it to somebody.
Your art is.
Yeah. Did I say stand up?
I don't know. I'm just trying to
yeah, my art. I think I could like sell it, but I don't know ever if it would be like more than like a hobby.
Just kind of a release for you kind of thing?
Yeah, like I don't want to like do a bunch of work and like try to like.
So people listening, how can they see your art? Is it online at all, or is it just impossible to see?
It's impossible to see.
Oh, man.
I think I have an album on Facebook. I'm gonna like do something with it though, because I've got a whole bunch. I've got stacks and stacks of paintings I need to sell because I want to make extra money for. I'm taking my kid on a road trip, and so
maybe she should do some I Am Salt Lake T-shirts, right?
Hey.
You know what I mean? Because that actually would be really cool to do some different I Am Salt Lake shirts with local artists.
That would be super cool.
I don't just an
I would
idea.
do that. Yeah.
Let's talk. I might pay you $10.
Anyway, besides art, anything else you like to do? What I want to get into the mind of Abby a little bit here. I feel like I haven't crawled enough in there yet. I want to know what makes you tick.
Let's see. Besides,
I mean,
comedy, art, and ladies.
I have an
Comedy,
alcohol
art-
problem.
you have an alcohol problem.
What I spent. Yeah, there's a girl I like. Spend a lot of time talking to her.
Does she respond? Does she talk back?
No,
or is
I'm
it
just-
more just like you one-sided talking?
It's mainly like a broomstick with a bra wrapped around it. I don't know. No, she's into me too. Is that what you're asking?
No, I mean, I've been there. I've tried to, talk to people, women. I like women. So, you're always the one sending the text messages, not getting anything back. And you wonder, well, how many more text messages do I keep sending without looking like a creep?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were getting responses from your...
No,
Sorry,
she's
my
pretty.
poor humor here. Poor humor. Anyway.
No,
It's just too good. We just didn't get it.
It's
good.
No,
It's
well,
over my head. It's stupid.
anyway, let's see here.
So you're going on a road trip.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun with my baby.
How old is he?
Oh, he's 4 years old. I guess he's not a baby.
Oh,
I
that's
always
cool. He
call
can
him a
like
baby.
unbuckle himself and jump around in the
Oh
car.
my gosh. We went to Denver and I was laid down in the back seat by him so he'd go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes his seatbelt off and goes and spoons me. And just like Aaron finally sees him and pulls over and I'm like totally asleep.
Oh, that's funny.
He's a cool kid. I think it's because he hangs out with adults so much, maybe. But it's like really.
He knows what's up.
Has he ever come to any of your comedy shows?
There was a time at Moe's Diner when I took him to a couple open mics. I think I have pictures doing stand up with him in my arm, but
Wait, you did stand up with him in your arm?
yeah, when
That's
he was
awesome.
like 2.
That is just incredible.
Yeah, but then
Why
it
do I
was
like
like
that so much. I like that.
That'd be fun to watch.
Maybe
It
like a
was
little
fun.
baby Bjorn in front of you, just like, yeah.
Well, it's just like he got to like I was afraid he was going to start like understanding.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of dirt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, you don't want to expose them to everything right away when their brain's forming.
Well, you have kids, Krissie,
do.
and I mean, you've
And
taken them to comedy shows.
I have taken them, but I've
Is
taken them
that
to
rough
clean
as a
comedy
parent,
shows.
though? I mean, do you get nervous?
Yeah.
Like, at what point do you want to expose them to like just filth?
That's so tough. Like, because that's all it is. All comedy is filth.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a level where you're like,
Yeah.
gosh, is this the way they need to find out about this?
Like
I mean,
stuff that we listen to and enjoy, we don't necessarily want them to listen to.
See, I don't have kids, right? So I've always just been like the type that's like, you know what? This is life. Let
Yeah.
them learn all the swear words. Let them learn
Yeah.
all this. But then you think about it as I get older, especially, and you're like, do I really want them to? Like, I had a neighbor kid. All right. I was like 13, 14 years old. This neighbor kid, his mom used to get him porn and was like, if he's going to learn about it, this is how he's going to learn about it. And it's like, is that really the way to learn about it, though?
That's kind of disturbing.
I just from working with, like, we used to have a sex offender unit, or maybe not sexual issues unit. And, like, I feel like there's a trend of kids learning about sex at a younger ages where you don't understand, like, other people have feelings and, like, boundaries and, like, how to, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much about sex that's...
You have to learn it as your brain's ready to.
Yeah. And so it... Like,
it's the same way with comedy then, probably, you know? To expose them to that stuff. Is that kind of what you were saying? Sorry, I didn't...
Yeah, like, I feel like curse words I don't care about at all. Like... As long as he knows not to say them in front of people that are going to be offended, you know what I mean? Or be, like, rude about it. I don't think you should give power to words more than they deserve. I don't know. But, like, sex stuff, like, that's something I was just like, oh, well, that makes sense. I don't want to give him porn.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that just seems like horrible parenting to me. And I'm not even a parent, but I wouldn't give my kid porn.
Yeah. I mean, I can see maybe if he was like 16 and we talked to him about like consent and like what it means and like how it works.
Naughty Nurse is 19. This is my favorite one.
To ask if it's okay.
Well, like, but I would never be mad at him if he got porn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
it's
why
not really something
would
a
it have
mother
to be
should
something
introduce to a child?
Okay,
really
when you
isn't.
say child,
What?
When you say child, yeah.
That just sounds so. A mother should introduce to her child.
I feel dirty.
I would feel comfortable being like, "This is what porn is. You're fine to look at it if you like are curious."
You know, Crystal Star.
Yeah,
she has the whole thing when she found out her boy found porn. She's like, "Just wash your hand afterwards." Like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want you to say anything. Just make sure you wash your hands afterwards. That was it.
That
was
you
the
do.
talk.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
I always have to talk about favorite local eating spots in Salt Lake City, in Utah. I don't know. Everybody eats. Everybody goes out to eat once in a while.
Yeah.
Where does Abby like to go and stuff her face here in Salt Lake City?
Like probably like Taco Bell. I'm like,
Fair
I'm
enough.
super cheap. No, there are places I like. Joe Morley's.
Joe Morley's. I'm not
down in Midvale. It's like really good barbecue.
Have you been there, Krissie? I know you
No.
venture to the south a little bit more
I've been more
than
on the
I
south
do.
side.
But so it's good barbecue.
Yeah.
Better than Dickie's.
Oh yeah.
Dickies
What are you
Bar-
talking about?
Well, Dickies
no
does have the
offense.
free little ice cream cone.
They really do.
They're
and
good. They're
delicious.
great, but it's like a legit like
Have you been to Pat's Barbecue?
establishment. No, I don't think so.
Okay, I was wondering on a compare because I've been to Pat's Barbecue and I was wondering the comparison. Joe Morley's.
Joe Morley's.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other.
Just because I have listeners on the edge of their seats right now, like, where's Abby going to recommend me to eat at? They make lists. I got listeners that make lists of places. No, they do. I've
Really?
talked to people. They showed me lists on their phone. They
That's
say,
awesome.
I make lists from all these recommendations from
Wow.
people on your show.
That's
So
crazy.
It better be good, or we're gonna have some angry listeners.
Moochie's,
Moochie's.
obviously.
What is Moochie's?
Moochie's has the Philly cheesesteak, which I got to take you to, Krissie.
Yes.
Oh, I had pizza that was really good. Was it Mama? I feel bad if I can't.
Oh, it's all
Mama
good.
Zita's or something.
That sounds
Lisa's Pizza.
No,
No?
different one.
Mama Zita's Pizza. Doesn't really matter, I guess.
They have gluten-free pizza.
Oh.
And
Do you do? You
It's
don't do
Z
gluten-
something,
Are you
I'm pretty
gluten-free?
sure.
Do you do gluten?
oh, Aaron is the co-parent, my
Oh.
pretend husband.
My pretend.
Okay. Well, I do the gluten-free thing.
Oh yeah.
So just
Yeah.
because I'm trendy, I'm you know.
Oh yeah, the hipster.
You have to keep up with the image.
Yeah, got to keep up.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was a Jedi braid this whole time. It's your earphone.
You thought I had a Jedi braid.
I was
so
like, this guy's gangsta hipster.
Seriously messed up that was like, I was like, oh yeah, Jedi braid. Let's do that.
so you would be okay if I did a Jedi braid, Krissie?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
I should maybe leave the room. Is that what?
Anyway, I don't know anything else. I mean, how can people I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Krissie or Abby? I don't know. I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of it. I don't know.
It's been fun to like just learn more about you. Because honestly, I mean, I've known Abby. How long have we known each other? Maybe 4 years.
Yeah,
and
quite
like,
a few.
I just learned a whole bunch of stuff about you I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So I'd call this a win.
Okay. Here's a fun question. What is something that? Okay, how can I word this? Maybe I'll edit this out. Something about you that nobody knows. I don't know. I guess that's a dumb question.
No, that's actually an awesome question.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Or that they wouldn't expect. I don't know. Something.
I don't know if this is okay. Can I tell you one? And if it's too like dark, you can edit it out. You got it, because I'm a bad judge of
no.
this.
No. Like this,
Okay.
there's no FCC regulations here.
So when I was a kid, I was molested by an extended family member, and just like, all the crap that comes with that. But I was very crafty, and one time I made this doll, sock doll. It was like out of a craft book, but I put a penis on it. Like an adult man-sized penis.
Ooh.
And as I got older, I don't know, I've always loved scandalizing my mom because she's super sex shamey, and I cut it off and I put it on her pillow.
You cut the penis off
of the doll and put it on her pillow.
Did she know what it was?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's just for you.
and
I wanted her to know what it was and be like, "What?
How old were you?
What is this little dick on my pillow?"
I'm a little worried about.
How old were you?
I'm not sure.
Young. You were young.
I was pretty.
Sure.
I was older when I cut it off and was like.
So you made it and kept it around for a while?
I still have it. Well, I have the scraps of it. My dog chewed it up, but I'm totally going to sew it back together.
Really?
Probably not put another dick on it, but...
Is it like a pokey doll? What are those called?
It looks like
you stab them?
Yes. It looks like a voodoo doll. It looks really
doll.
creepy.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I would do surgeries on it, and it had like a skeleton and like was all... I think that's...
Really?
Why I wanted to put a penis on it, so it would be like all anatomically correct, but also the whole, how I learned about penises.
Yeah, I think
that's too dark.
No.
Oh.
I bet you almost every woman in comedy has been molested or raped at least once.
Most women have been molested
Most women
or raped.
in general.
Statistically, which is horrific. Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer.
They need to start talking about consent in
kindergarten?
Well, in sex ed classes at least. They never talked about it like... I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think people get like that people, you know what I mean? That you
absolutely.
can be down and then not be down, and like that's
exactly.
like you shouldn't pressure someone. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. There are consent classes for people in college, but by that age,
school is like,
yeah.
That's that's an interesting subject.
It is.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
No,
it's kind of nice to talk about, though.
Oh,
I know it may be
I'm
too
not,
dark.
No. I'm not against talking about it.
I feel like it's empowering. Like, to be honest, like, that's
too.
a weird ass story, and like, clearly I'm super fucked up, but like, fuck you. It's my life. That was my experience.
You
it's
haven't
what
cut
happened.
off a real penis yet, so we're good. At least that we know of.
Oh, that's another sad. When I was really little, I told my dad, I was like, when I get married, I'm going to cut his penis off so he can't pee. Oh,
Wait,
somebody got diddled.
You told your dad this?
Yeah, and it was like a funny story they'd tell me.
Okay,
like,
did your parents...
crazy when you said that?
I don't want to dig or pry, but did your parents know?
They did not know.
Oh.
I never told anybody, so. Comedy.
Is this a first? Is this a first on I Am Salt Lake podcast?
Oh, no. I mean, they know now.
I'm kidding. I was bad.
They know now. I told them.
We should just call that Secrets and Shaming Podcast.
Yeah. That was a horrible laugh on my Anyway, have you done a pod? You've done a podcast, no? Have you?
I'm not.
You're not like a technical.
Put together enough to do things regularly.
It's hard enough just to get out and get in your car and go to a comedy show.
Yeah. For
Do you
reals,
have a
though.
website or anything that people can come check out?
Yeah.
Or
AbiHarrisonComedy.com, I think. At Abigail Harriso. I've got some shows coming up. On the 8th is the He and She Show with Teresa and Doug Wyckoff.
Okay.
They're going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I think maybe it's Glasgow.
So are you opening for them?
Yeah, there's
Nice.
a few openers. It should be a really good show. They're really good. They're gonna, when they go there, Teresa was telling me they do a show every night for like 30 days.
Holy crap. That's
Doing
hard work.
Who
an
does
hour.
this?
What?
Who does this show?
Teresa Wyckoff and Doug Wyckoff.
I'm not familiar with them.
It's a married couple that do like a traveling stand-up
Yeah.
routine.
Way good.
Called
Yeah.
the He and
Are
She
they
Show?
from Utah?
He, I think, might be. They met in New York, I think.
Interesting.
I only know about them because they follow me online.
Are they funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Teresa's like, well, I mean, no offense to Doug, but not really. She's way funny. I like her a lot. And Doug, too. I feel really uncomfortable right now. I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Everything's
So
great.
I'll make sure to get, you're right, because you weren't sure if it was Abi Harrison or AbigailHarrison.com. I'll make sure to get the right link at IamSaltLake.com.
Yes. Oh, and then
I'll
wait.
Google it at once. Yeah. Wait, what?
Can I say one more show?
You can say 50 more shows
Aaron Orlovitz is doing on the 10th. So
at Kilby Court.
yes, Kilby Court.
I saw that.
And it's an amazing lineup. It's great. It's Amara.
Oh,
right
she's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
No,
just gotta
I'm
see
always
her.
stoked like when comedy shows are in places like Kilby Court. That's like, because have they even done comedy there at Kilby Court?
I have no idea.
Have you been to Kilby Court?
Nope.
I love it. I grew up there. Music stuff,
Oh, cool.
It's a great little music venue. But I don't know if they've ever done comedy
I've
there.
never heard. I mean, I haven't been around that
Well,
long.
like I know
but haven't
Slug
heard of
did
it.
like a comedy showcase at Urban Lounge, which kind of threw me off guard. I was like, oh, comedy at Urban Lounge. And it was cool. It was something different, Kind of caught me
Yeah.
off guard when I went there. I was like, oh, do I stand? Do I sit? What do I do?
You can sit on the floor or stand.
But, it was fun.
It was cool.
So you're going to be on the one at Kilby Court, the
Yeah.
10th.
On the 10th. And then there's one July 30th at Sandy Station that I'm also on. And Crystal Starr, Jackson Banks, and a whole bunch of comics from California, I do believe.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be...
So check it out, and I'm sure you post about all your shows if people connect with you on Facebook and Twitter. And do
sure.
you do Twitter?
Yeah. I mainly just like retweet comedy shows for like other people's comedy shows.
But Facebook, so people can add you as a friend on Facebook or all that.
I have a page you can like.
Oh, do you have a fan page?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get that link up too at I Am Salt Lake.
Abby
I don't
Harrison.
know why, but yes, I do.
Maybe you'll get 1 million fans.
Maybe. Hey,
I'm
Salt
optimistic.
Lake.
Hey, Salt Lake, add
Give me
Abby.
1 million fans.
That's all you need to do is tell them to give you 1 million fans. Then it works.
Make me successful, Salt Lake. Make my dreams come true. Please.
Oh, that is great audio.
Crushing of the
I'm going to
plastic.
save that. No, not the plastic. I'm going to save that clip
Of
you saying, "Make me successful, Salt Lake."
It's true though. They could. They could
could.
totally
Salt
do
Lake
it.
City is a great city.
Yeah.
We just got to, all get together and support everybody here that is doing rad things.
Yeah,
If
man.
everybody
There
sup-
really is like a lot of talent in Utah because of the Mormon stuff. I think personal progress. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Do you think like a lot of people like us who were raised Mormon and kind of when you're in that you're kind of like taught, you have to have talent and you have to like learn the piano and you have to sing and you have to, and you're like very encouraged, like you said,
Very
personal
much,
progress, right?
yeah.
And then kind of you just kind of filter away from it, but you have that
ambition.
maybe the desire,
like,
ambition, to keep creating or
I
keep
think for
doing.
me, it's almost like this is how you're valued thing.
Interesting.
But that's probably my own.
those are your own
deal.
issues. You got some serious
Yeah.
problems, really.
I really do. But I'm like the
You're
happiest
great.
freaking person.
Yeah.
Because I don't face any of my problems. And then I just have rage blackouts. Every once in a while. It's very rare.
That's just the way to go.
I love it. I love it. It seems like a good place to end the show right there. I mean, I don't know. Rage blackout.
Rage blackouts are always a great place.
I've loved chatting with you, Abby.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Anything you want to add, Krissie, before we cut her out of here and let her go
I'd
on
say
with
just go see Abby for real. She's an amazing comedian.
She really is.
Yeah, I'm so funny. Oh, my God.
Do you want to say a joke before
Salt Lake, I'm
leave?
so funny. Make me famous.
Tell us a joke.
Your favorite knock-knock joke.
Oh, my God. This is... Izzy tells me this same knock-knock joke over and over again. Knock, knock. Who's there? Izzy. Izzy who? Izzy Block. Because that's what he was looking at when he originally... And I laughed because it was like... And now it's just like, that is the joke.
That's awesome.
I love it. We'll end it there. Thank you so much, Abby. Have a good night. All right. Many thanks goes out to Abi Harrison for coming on this episode of the podcast. Head on over to iamsaltlake.com/235. That's for episode 235. Check out the links to get in touch with her. I'm going to put Facebook links and whatnot on the iamsaltlake.com page. Let her know that you heard her on this episode of the podcast. It's really important. I know people, guests of the podcast, they love to get interaction. Mm-hmm. They love to find out, people listened and people heard what they had to say. I know Krissie and myself love to hear.
Oh, it's fantastic because then we know what you want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just out there listening and you say, "Oh, this is a crock of shit," I don't want to listen to this podcast, and you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
We don't know what you want to hear.
Tell us.
Absolutely. All the contact information is on the website, iamsaltlake.com. Hey, like I said, though, there's a few things Krissie and myself have been up to here in Salt Lake City. A few things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
The first thing, actually, before we get into the Pioneer Day Parade, I want to talk about Old Ute Radio. Krissie and myself were recently guests on a recent episode of Old Ute Radio, which we'll put the link at iamsaltlake.com 235 with the show notes for this, where you can go and listen to an episode.
It was a fun
where
interview.
You and I got interviewed a little bit, and
it was really fun.
It really was. At first, I didn't even know you were going to actually be on there, Krissie.
I thought I was just going to hang out and take pictures.
But they, Sasha and Johnny over there at Old Ute Radio were like, "Hey, let's get Krissie on the mic and have her talk as well," which I was actually really stoked on. I probably should have spoke up a little bit. I probably should have said, I would like Krissie to be part of this, but there's, that timid side of me that's like, oh, I don't know. Should I bring her on,
Well, and you are Mr. Salt Lake.
I'm not Mr. Salt Lake. I'm just a dude, that lives downtown and happens to love the city.
Which is awesome. We need people like you.
Anyway, Old Ute Radio, this was a fantastic conversation. It's been a little while, almost a couple years, I think, since the last time I was on their podcast. So give it a listen. I know it's in iTunes, but we'll put the link at iamsaltlake.com/235 with this episode. Please go check it out.
It was fun because we talked about a lot of things we don't normally talk about.
Yeah, well, and hopefully we talk about more of them in upcoming episodes. Anyway, I want to talk about this Pioneer Day Parade. We went and did this. Okay, so let me give a little bit of a premise here. For a lot of people listening, they might not be really that familiar with Pioneer Day. Maybe not. I know we get some out-of-state listeners. Maybe that fall. Anyway, Pioneer Day is this. It's the state holiday here in Utah.
It's like the 4th of July for Utah,
which I can get behind. I'm like, okay, I'm proud to to live here in Utah. I'm proud of Salt Lake City, so I can get behind it. There's a lot of negativity behind it because a lot of people quickly label it as a religious holiday, which I don't think it has to be.
Right, I agree. I mean, and we've talked about this.
We've talked about it, and I know a lot of people are so quick. Like this year, Pioneer Day was actually on a Sunday, but it was celebrated on Monday, which I understand because any holiday is celebrated on the weekday for the work.
Exactly.
If July 4th happened to be on a Sunday, they would have celebrated on a Monday, and that way everybody could have had off work. I know everybody doesn't get off work, but it's still celebrated on a weekday. But people in this state are so quick to blame it on a religion.
Yep.
And I don't think it needs to be that way.
It really doesn't.
It's a state holiday.
Exactly. It's about how the state was
founded. I'm going to say this, and I read this well, granted, everything you read, you don't believe, but pull your head out of your and understand something here. There were pioneers that were non-Mormon. I'm going to say this. I have nothing against Mormons, but people are so quick to say, oh, this is a Mormon holiday. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to say there were pioneers that were non-Mormon. And so this is a state holiday to celebrate all people in Utah.
Exactly.
Is that fair to say, Krissie?
I think that's fair to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, Pioneer Day. I love it. It's an extra day here in July. I get the day paid off of work.
And I took the day off because I'm like, if you get a day off, I'm getting off too.
Anyway, I was so excited because I'm like, okay, this year I'm going to go to the Pioneer Day parade. Mm-hmm. I want to check this out. I want to see what it's all about, all the hoopla. We live a few blocks away from the parade route.
And you've never been to it before.
I've never been because I've always just thought, yeah, it's a parade.
Yeah.
But I've been to a handful of parades. They're a lot of fun. I said, well, you know what? I want to go over. I want to take some pictures. I want to see what this is all about.
Yeah.
How bad could it be? How bad could it be, right? Well, you're laughing because of what we got into. What we discovered. And anyway, so I got up early. I set the alarm. I showered, got dressed. We walked over there. We get over there. The parade is going on. And I'm talking about this is probably the most sad parade I have ever been. If I had a little sad trombone,
it would have fit in very nicely.
Little musical thing here for the podcast. I would have. I would play. No, this is it. Didn't you say you heard a mom?
I did. Yes, there was a mom who had 3 kids, and 2 of them were talking to each other, and she shushed them.
Like who shushes at a parade?
That's how quiet the parade was.
There were chairs lined up. Okay, so to back up a little bit, people camp out for this parade. So I was nervous. Am I going to find a spot? I remember asking people I worked with, if I get over there at like 9 a.m., am I going to find a spot?
Yeah, will we be able to even see it?
Because people start camping out like the day before.
And it's like hardcore camping out.
Like legit. Mm-hmm. And so we get over there, plenty of room to stand there, plenty of room to see the parade. There was the only music that was being played was like high school bands.
Yeah.
Like, what?
All the floats that went by were silent.
Yeah,
silent floats.
Put some music on those floats.
It was so interesting.
Oh my gosh, so boring. like seriously.
The clowns were okay.
Okay. I understand this isn't a pride parade.
Right.
Like I'm a big fan of the pride parade. Love it.
So much energy.
Okay, I understand. We're taking it from the Pioneer Day parade to the pride parade. But I don't believe you can have energy.
Yeah.
It's a parade.
Like, it's okay to have fun, right?
I think so.
I think so, too.
So I was like, okay, let's quickly take some pictures and get out of here. Never want to do the Pioneer Day parade again.
We really tried, though. We tried really hard to enjoy it.
And again, it's nothing against anybody. It's nothing against, because I'm a big fan of Pioneer Day because I do believe in celebrating Utah roots.
Yeah, and the heritage. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for it.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, though. It was something everybody needs to go experience it.
Yeah, and I say nothing's wasted time because you're at least experiencing things.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what? I want to talk about this, Krissie.
Okay.
So one thing I want to talk about more is some of the local places that we go to eat.
Ooh, yeah.
Alexa's Baked Potato Restaurant.
And I was not even sold on this.
Yeah, okay, so I was at work one day, and a coworker pulled this up on the website, this baked potato restaurant that happened to be really close to where I work during the day. And I said, what is this, baked potato restaurant? I'm not a huge baked potato guy, but they look fantastic. So many different ways to make baked potatoes. And somebody like myself who eats gluten-free, there was a lot of gluten-free options. So I was like, I got to check this out.
Yeah.
So that day we came home. It was actually the same day that we found out that we got the GoFundMe goal.
It was.
So I said, let's go out to eat at this baked potato restaurant.
He said, I'm going to take you out to dinner. Let's go have some baked potatoes.
And you're like, oh, wow. Hi, big spender here, Chris. Sure. I know I found the man of my dreams that takes me to a baked potato bar.
I'm happy we went.
If you want to find the man that's going to wow you.
Make sure he gets you a baked potato.
Yeah, anyway, we went there though. This was really good though.
It was actually awesome.
You liked it.
I did like it. And I don't even like baked potatoes.
How do you not like baked potatoes?
I don't know. They're just so dry.
Well, this was really good. It was all mashed up.
This one was so good.
It was really good, though. They're about 3200 South. I don't know their exact address. I should have pulled it up before we started recording. Really good, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, really good priced. You could get a baked potato, all the fixings for under $10.
And like, there's so many kinds. There is such a huge choice there, which blew me away.
I just wanted to bring it up here on the podcast.
It was a great place.
Before we entered it.
Yeah.
Exited the interview. Alexa's Baked Potato Bar. I'm curious if anybody else has eaten there. Send me an email. I'd love to.
Tell us your favorite baked potato so we can try it.
Favorite baked potato. Hey, we got pins. We got some little pins coming up.
Yeah, we did.
About midweek, we should have some in store. Make sure you're following us on social media. We're going to find out. We're going to share ways on how you can pick one up, how you can get one. We're going to probably send them, mail them, or you could pick them up from us. We'll have pictures of that on social media and on the website and all of that. Anything else you want to mention, Krissie, before we leave this episode?
Actually, I'm curious to talk about the Utah Foodie Podcast.
Oh, yes. Utah Foodie Podcast.
Yeah.
Great local podcast. Good friends of ours. I wanted to mention them before we left this podcast. The Utah Foodie, another great local podcast here from Salt Lake City, recorded right here in Salt Lake City. Friends of the podcast. I know Chase has been, I forgot what episode he was on. Great conversation we had with him. But go check this podcast out. They're doing a great job talking with all the local eating spots.
Yeah.
You know, I know you and we can't get to all of them.
Oh, no.
So it's so awesome to have another local podcast that is taking the time.
They kind of cover that genre.
Exactly.
It's great.
Exactly. We're going to still get some of those restaurants on this podcast, though, and heckle them a little bit and bring them on and have them share their story with us.
Definitely.
But go check it out. It's the Utah Foodie. You can listen to them on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, really wherever you listen to podcasts. Check them out. And when you listen to them, I don't know, find out a way to get in touch with them and say, hey, great recommendation from I Am Salt Lake. The Utah Foodie. Again, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, however you listen to podcasts. Hey, make sure you subscribe, though. Make sure you subscribe to I Am Salt Lake. We got a brand new episode up every week. I know there's a lot of things in store, though. We might be starting to put more episodes out.
Yeah.
We have plans for video here shortly. Keep your fingers crossed if everything goes well. We're going to be getting a GoPro and kind of going out and about and capturing video. Our website, iamsaltlake.com. Twitter is I Am Salt Lake.
Yep, and I am at Krissie Tweets.
Krissie Tweets. Make sure to connect with us. Snapchat, I Am Salt Lake.
And I think I'm just Krissie Shelley.
Krissie Shelley on Snapchat. Follow along. Really, every social media. I would love it if you would even add me as a friend on Facebook. So much to talk about.
We get a little excited.
We're going to let you go, though, for this week. You all have a great week. Get out, enjoy the city, support local, and love the city you live in.